Hi there everybody, here we are again at Rosie's Posies in Skiatook, Oklahoma, and we are going to be getting ready to do a wedding. So I thought I'd share a little bit of this because it is kind of a fun wedding. It's all white tropicals. We are going to be doing boutonnieres, corsages, cascade bouquet for the bride, 4 bridesmaids, and a toss bouquet. And I just wanted to give you a few little tips and tricks and let you see some pretty white tropical flowers. So we're going to start with the boutonnieres first. We're going to use the cymbidium orchids, and they come multiples on a stem. So you need to find the prettiest ones you can, and that will be the start. Just cut it off. Stick it back in there. You need to make sure your little petals are flexed back so that you see the face of the orchid right there. And then I take the thinnest little wires you can find. These are, I think they're 18s. I think they're 18s. I normally use like a 20 for like wiring Gerber, daisies, things like that. But I think these are 18 is what I normally do. See, it's itty bitty, like you can barely see that. I am gonna cut the stem just a little bit shorter because you don't really need all that longness on there. And then I do what we call a hairpin. So I'm just going to pierce it right there, just like that. And then I'm going to bend it down. So now you have a hairpin. And then I'm going to tape it. Light green floral tape. Taped. So this wedding, she did show me a couple of inspiration pictures. It had some lily grass for the boutonnieres, and I am going to use a little bit of Israeli ruscus as the back. So this one, the lily grass was actually curved. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to curve it. So I'm doing it facing me. I'm sorry. I don't know how to do it facing away so that you guys can see it, but I'm going to make kind of like a couple little loops. Find my scissors back here. I'm going to cut those off. So now you have it kind of like this in your fingers. Like that. That would be the front. And I'm going to take the corsage tape. I'm going to make a little tack, so it's going to hold it in place like this. 2 little ears, little rabbit ears. And then I'm going to take my greenery, and I'm going to do it all in one big swoop. I'm going to put my greenery to the back to kind of give it a little bit of base to hold the petals. See how we're doing that, Gayla? And then I'm going to take my little rabbit ears I'm going to put them back to back like that. And it's okay, orchids kind of got a twist to it, how it's twisted like that. It's okay. I think that's part of the excitement of a tropical. Now the challenge is going to be, and actually now that I'm doing it, you might want to go ahead and tape down the greenery first. Because you want the lily grass to be kind of feigning off to the inspiration picture I saw. The lily grass was kind of feigning off to the side a little bit. See how it kind of like, and you can kind of maneuver it a little bit here. So there you go, so when they're wearing it. See that? Yeah. Okay. And that's it. That's all that this boutonniere is, just like that. And then we'll do a pin. So now we just need, what, 9 more? Now the second thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the mother's corsages. So the mother's corsages, they just wanted small little dendrobium orchids just kind of going right across their wrist. So I'm just going to go ahead. I have all of my wires, same little skinny wires, but this time I have them all wired, all the wires taped. So now I'm just going to make a little small bow, just like in making a wrist corsage, very similar to prom. I'm probably going to do this one maybe a little bit smaller because it's such a little small grouping. Use my sewing scissors on this type of ribbon because this is an actual satin, like double face. Okay, so I've got one bow made. I'm going to do 3 sets of ribbons, a center, a top and a bottom, basically. Center grouping is obviously going to be the bigger one.
So you're doing 3 loops in the big one and then 2 on the
two ends? 2 on each side, yep.
Okay.
And then 2 big ones for the bottom. And then I did a loop, and then a twist just to kind of give it that kind of look. Run your wire in the center. Give it a good twist. So see when you, so now it sticks up. And then you just build it. Center loop. Bottom loop. See how it's kind of small and tiny? Slide it right up there. And now you're just gonna give it a good tack on the back with your corsage tape. Same technique I do for prom. Sometimes, most of the time though, for prom I do 2 or 3, sometimes more ribbons. Just kind of depends on what the girl picks out. Take my handy dandy wire cutters, and now I'm going to just stagger the wires so that when I attach the wristlet, it's just a smaller, skinnier stem. And I'm going to finish taping this so that it's finished off. Get the wristlet out. I bend it in half. Like that. So now I'm just going to catch the little jaws right here and then right here. Right there.
catch any of the ribbon in the clips, or just the green tape
So-
stem part?
I do catch the ribbon on the top part. See how the ribbon's caught?
Okay.
And then on the bottom part, I'll go in the wires. And I don't necessarily catch the ribbon on that. I might push the ribbon around. And then this little corsage, I am gonna do the glue. I'm gonna do the cold glue by Oasis cold glue. And I'm just going to take an orchid stem. Pretty tightening. And I'm just going to select orchids that are still pretty, and I just pull them off just like that. I like to work in odd numbers, and I like to work in multiple sizes. I go ahead and I take all the stem off. Just take your Oasis glue, and this is where you just a little dot right on top. Now the secret with the glue is to let it sit. So I'm going to put glue on the spot to balance it so it doesn't run. We'll line them up here against banana. That's the name of my wire cutters, is banana. We're just gonna line them up right here and let them sit for just a couple of minutes. Not super long, just long enough to kind of dry. Because you want it just a little bit tacky, and seeing your Oasis glue gets a little bit gunky on the end. There is a trick that I'll show you how to stop that. That way too your glue doesn't you don't glue your lid on forever, because this stuff will stay hard as cement. Okay. That's my glue right there, so it stays in. I'm going to take a little bit of the same greenery, and I'm going to make a little small greenery bed just under the ribbon, just to kind of help hold that ribbon up. Do the same thing. Now greenery, I don't make it sit as long as I do the flowers, because the flowers are going to sit on top. So I'm going to stick this greenery right down in the center of this ribbon onto that wire in between bow 1 and bow 3. Or bow 2, I mean. Bow 1 and bow 2. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right here, coming off to the side a little bit, I think. This is where we're going to get a little wispy. So there it is. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my first orchid and I'm going to insert it. I'm just going to put it right down here in the center, focal point. Second big orchid. Go in the other direction, right in the center. Now I'm just going to work kind of like in a circle. I'm going to actually move some of the ribbon. the smaller one right up top. Yeah, just like that. Now I do like to take the end of the orchid, just like a little piece like that, and we're just going to kind of use it like just to finish it off, make it look like you have an orchid stem on your corsage. So now you have, this is what we're doing for the mothers and the grandmothers.
Beautiful.
Real easy. And now another secret with the Oasis glue is just let it sit. Just let it sit. 10-15 minutes. And then you can spray it with Crowning Glory, put it in the boxes, stick it in the cooler, you'll be good to go. So there's what we're doing for the boutonnieres and the corsages for this particular wedding. So now I'm gonna get Gayla going on working on corsages and boutonnieres, and I'm gonna clean up my glue, which I always take a piece of plastic and you get the gunked up in, and I just wipe it off just like that, so you got it cleared off. And then I take Coke on, spray it, put the lid on it just like that, and it comes right off. Okay. All right, so Okay, so now we're gonna work on the bridesmaids bouquet for this tropical wedding that we've been working on for this weekend. So we're just gonna start with real easy. We're gonna do 2 small mini calla lilies, 1 anthurium, 3 stems of palm, 2 tea leaves, and then we're gonna also do 3 cymbidium orchids. So much like the boutonnieres, we're gonna wire the cymbidium orchids. So we're gonna find 3 pretty cymbidiums here. 1, here's a pretty one, 2, and then let's see here. This one's pretty too. 3. So I'm gonna work on flexing the cymbidium open, and I'm going to use the long 18 wire. Do the same hairpin technique on the orchids, and I'm going to go ahead and tape them, wire and tape them first, even though they will be placed last in the bouquet, but that way they're ready to go when I'm using them. I like to have everything that I do in my wedding bouquets. I like to have everything cut, cleaned, wired if I'm wiring anything. So all I have to do is just insert into the bouquets. Okay, so for this bouquet, I actually am going to tape 2 of the orchids together so it makes one big thicker stem, and I'm just going to stack them, kind of similar to like how I would do if it was a corsage, but I'm just going to leave the stems long so that I have something to hold on to. And I'm going to go ahead and tape all the way down so that it's a good sturdy stem. Okay, so I have all of that done. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to also go ahead and coil up my leaves here, and I'm going to tape them so that they're ready to go. These are tea leaves, and then I also need to pull out my monstera leaf and give it a good spray when I spray these guys so that everybody's shiny. Oh, just knocked over my spray can. Okay, so everybody's shiny. So I'm going to start with the calla lilies first, and sometimes you just have to warm up their stems just a little bit just to kind of give them a little bit of a straightness. And I'm going to do 2 callas. And I'm going to kind of hold them where they're going to be taller. And I'm going to put the anthurium in front. So here we go. I think I'll do sometimes things shift a little bit, so you just keep on straightening and pulling. I'll add some of the palms kind of coming out. Okay, now I'm going to add orchid, just kind of this bouquet is kind of a one-sided bouquet. So that's why I'm kind of designing it a little bit with my back to you a little bit. Monstera leaf in, and she wanted a lot of greenery, a lot of tropical greenery in this. So that's why there's so much green. Pull these orchids out just a little bit. Turn this anthurium. Oh, this tea leaf is going to try to throw a tantrum. All right, and then I have it in my hands, and I'm going to take my tape and I'm just going to tape it up. I think everything is about where I like it. Actually, my calla just slid down, but look at how well that just pulls right back up. still where I would like it to be. I'm gonna give this guy a twist. There we go. Everything's still there, still looking pretty. And I'm just gonna take my wire cutters. I'm going to trim the wire right here so there's all the wires that are exposed are still taped, so it's all finished off. And then I'm going to see if Miss Gayla will hand me that champagne colored ribbon. Thank you. And I'm going to cut a length. We're just going to wrap the binding so that it's covering up that tape, and I'm just going to give it a little bow. Just to finish it off. There you are, bridesmaid bouquet.